Carla here, also known online as the Beer Babe, at Beer Babe.
My name is Mike. I am the Robin to Seacoast Beverage Labs Batman. Can be found on Twitter at @Meredith.
Hey, I'm Norman. I'm known online as the Beer Nut or Real Beer Nut on Twitter.
Hello, this is Sean Jansen from TwoBeerGuys.com.
Brian from Seacoast Beverage Lab, and this is the Seacoast Beverage Lab podcast. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Brian from SeacoastBeverageLab.com, and this is the Seacoast Beverage Lab podcast for Monday, August 26th, 2013. I always forget the date, but it's always Monday, and it's always 8 p.m. Eastern Time, so that's all I need to know. So we have a very special guest in the room. Carl is just sliding into the nick of time. Don't kid yourself.
Awesome.
But I'm Brian from Seacoast Beverage Lab out of Newfields, New Hampshire. I'm drinking the Baba Black Lager from Uinta. And there's a little reason for that, and we'll get to that in a second. So while Carla sets up, Mike, what are you up to?
My name is Mike. You can follow me at @Meredith on Twitter from Salem, Massachusetts. And tonight I'm also drinking the Baba from Uinta.
And we got Norm on.
Hey, Norman Miller, Metro West Daily News, the Beer Nut from Leominster, Mass. And shockingly, I'm drinking a Baba as well.
Wait a second.
Sounds like a trend.
What's going on here? Carla, can you hear us yet? Too soon? Nah, we'll let her set up. But so we got very special guest. Big welcome for the Vice President of Sales, co-owner of Uinta Brewing, Steve. I'm sorry about the last name, but
It's all right. Best intro ever.
Yeah, it's best. So, Steve, how are you?
I'm fantastic. It's if you can pronounce Uinta, that's more important for me. So
Perfect. And are you drinking anything tonight?
I am also drinking the Baba. I have the bottle
Oh,
A bottle.
a bottle.
as well.
Great. So we'll hop right into the questions in a second. Again, for those that are just watching now, you can hop into the chat room. SBL
Carla going
Podcast.
straight to the Doobie.
Oh, Carla's just diving right into it. She's a big
Out of order.
So
Well, I wasn't here to hear what the order was supposed to be.
it goes imperial to lighter.
We talk about this every week.
Classic beer mistake. No, I'm kidding. But Carla, what's going on?
Oh, not much. Sorry, it took me a while to get home. They're doing road construction. It's almost the end of summer, so they got to squeeze that all in right now.
Oh, yeah.
So you're obviously drinking the Doobie?
Mm-hmm.
Smoking a Doobie? No, I'm kidding. Anyway.
Do that on the way
Maybe
home.
maybe the teenager that lives next door to me, but no.
Absolutely.
Those teenagers.
But
Those crazy kids.
let's see. So I got a couple quick shout outs before we start the show. I haven't posted about it yet, but my wife and I took a little 2-day vacay up to some of the New Hampshire breweries I've yet to go to.
Ew.
Went up to Tuckerman's Brewery for the first time. Big fan. Super, super small operation. I am just shocked at how small they are considering the amount of taps are on in the state. But big shout out to Kirsten for showing us around. Went over to Moat Mountain for their barbecue and beer. Did a little tour there, and then went over to Woodstock Inn over in Lincoln, New Hampshire.
Love Woodstock.
And we pull in, and I gotta say my heart goes out to them because their office building burnt down the day before that we showed up. And we pulled in, and it was completely destroyed. But there was 8 people living in there, 4 apartments, and it housed all their servers, documents, and stuff. So they were really, despite all that bad stuff, they were still fully, had smiles on their faces, saying hey to the customers and serving us nicely. So big shout out to them. I hope everything works out. And you can go to Woodstock's Facebook page where they have details to donate any money to some of the victims because they lost all their stuff, and there's actually one person that was injured. Despite all that, we had a great tour the next day, as weird as it is to say, but great beers, great spot. And then after that, what did I do? Oh, I went down to Henniker Brewing in Henniker, New Hampshire. So I had a Chris Shea. He was doing good things there. And then I went over to Flying Goose, and then I went home to sleep for the rest of the weekend. But it was very cool seeing a lot of New Hampshire breweries that I have yet to see but have idolized since I've started beer writing. So, Carla, did you get anything beer related this past weekend?
I went up to camp with my fiance's family, so we drank some good beer, but didn't do a lot of beer visiting. Brought with us some Founders Dirty Bastard, I think it was Dirty Bastard, and then also popped open a couple of bottles of things that have been left up a camp that we hadn't finished yet. So we decided to go through and go, what random bottles do we have? So we cracked a Rising Tide Tempest, a Goose Island, Madame Rose, a Rogue Honey Kolsch. I think that was it. But we were just kind of going through like, oh, I had brought these one weekend and didn't get around to drinking them, and got to get rid of them at the end of summer. So.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Mike, what you get up to? I heard that you had a little barbecue.
I did, yeah. There was our good friend Pat had his annual party, Von Fest, for everybody that's interested in the name. Yes, it does have a name. So I was out in Western Mass this weekend. Didn't really do anything other like beer related, but I did stop into some of the local beer shops, just to see if I could pick up some Western Mass favorites. And I was surprised to see something that I thought wasn't coming out for a little bit later, which was the steel rail in cans.
Got it.
Was great, yeah. I saw Brian post a photo yesterday, and I saw it in the story yesterday, and it blew my mind.
Yep.
I was like, yes.
Norm has different opinions about that beer because that can single-handedly demolished the Oktoberfest.
Berkshire Oktoberfest.
It did. I understand.
They did not do it because they had the cans.
So stupid, but thank you for doing the cans.
A pox on the can.
Pox,
oh, yeah.
Jeez, a pox.
Oh boy. So grumpy Norm. Before we get into happier things, do you have anything else to bring us down with?
No. I had a good weekend. I read Joshua Bernstein's new book, The Complete Beer Course.
How's that?
Excellent book. I mean, really informative. Really interesting for people who know about beer or just getting into beer. It's, just the IPA section alone, he has it broken down by English IPA, West Coast IPA, East Coast IPA, double IPA, triple IPAs, black IPAs, etc., etc. A lot of New England breweries get shout-outs: Smutty Nose, Throwback, Abbey, Harpoon, Allagash, Gritty's.
I'm gonna have to pick that one up. Damn.
Yeah, Gritty's, Sea Dog, more. That's just off the top of my head. And I also went on a little beer hunt myself. Took the trek to Athol. If you live in Massachusetts, no one wants to go to Athol. Pick up some beer from Lefty's Brewing Company. That's close to where I live. I picked up their breakfast stout, imperial porter, their coffee porter, and their chocolate oatmeal stout. So that was a very successful beer trip out there. So that's pretty much my weekend.
Awesome. And then quick shout-outs before we get into it. We have my dad is drinking, a.k.a. at Rick Brews on Twitter, is also drinking the Baba. We also have, who else is drinking Baba in the chat? Bruce is drinking Baba Lager in the chat. And a big shout-out to Tamra and Mike's uncle, Scott.
Yeah, Scott.
So business out of the way. Steve, we really appreciate you guys coming on. And more importantly, we appreciate you guys sending us some beer because the show runs, it's a free show, but we run off beer. And this is, majorly appreciate the beers and the glass. Look at Carlos showing off that glass. You go, girl.
Mine was kind of broken in the box. So
drink out of it.
I did drink out of it. I was in the hospital yesterday.
You just step on it like that Christmas ornament. Then
okay. But so yeah, we'll get to Norm's foot in a little bit. But Steve, can you what's hopping the Wayback Machine? How did you guys start Uinta Brewing?
Actually, the original founder, Will Hamill, my current business partner, started the company about 21 years ago. We're both New Englanders. Will's from the Falmouth, Portland area of Maine, and I grew up in Massachusetts, mainly the North Shore, Marblehead, Pottsville area. Will was really started the company because he was a craft brewer and a home brewer. Just loved living in Utah, and kind of in that early scene, he knew he was pretty tight with the Widmer boys out in Portland. He was doing some work out there, and really wanted to start his own brewery, and came out here and fell in love with the, hey, welcome home.
Nice.
He's bringing more beer, so that's
perfect. If you haven't been out to Salt Lake City, it's a really impressive, beautiful city. It's very nice.
Jeez, nice.
I'm surprised you found that. We can't make enough of that right now.
Yeah, it's all over Maine. We can get it pretty well up here. I'm happy.
That's great. Yeah, we just you should look at those freshness dates. I would guess it's within 2 to 3 weeks old. It's just
What's the freshness feeling?
right off the line into the trucks almost on a daily basis. So
Or November 8th.
Okay, best before November 8th, so whatever that translates to.
Fresh.
Born on. That's fresh.
yeah, it was bottled on August 8th.
Nice.
Cool.
Is there a poster behind you or something?
What's that?
Is there a poster that says that, or you just come up with the in your head?
I can subtract 4 months pretty quickly.
Oh, that's cool. You know, why don't you guys run the show? I'm out of here. This is.
That's
All right.
because I'm from New England.
Yeah. No,
Heyo.
Massachusetts has good schools, Brian.
hey, I went to Mass. You know, I mean, whatever. Anyway, let's not turn this into a
Well,
thing.
fast forward, Will was his business plan ended at about 5,000 barrels. That's what he was hoping to get to. This year we'll get close to 60,000.
Wow.
So I got brought on board in '99. I had met Will soon after the company started. I was opening up bars and closing down bars for a living.
Hell.
Was one of the first accounts ever to put Uinta on draft, and we struck up a great friendship and eventually started working at Uinta in '99, and then became invested as a partner in 2001. So I've been involved with Uinta for almost 14 years now. So.
Wow. So I guess that brings up a major question. What was the craft beer scene like in Utah when you
Healthy.
started? Was it healthy?
When I first started,
Yeah.
it was dominated by a couple of players, us and Wasatch and Squatters. I think there's now 18 breweries.
18.
Oh, really?
Say that again?
No, we should be just impressed.
Yeah,
18.
It's hard. I mean, Utah is the lowest per capita consumption of beer in the United States, even though we're I think the 5th or 6th highest taxed. So it's a constant battle between those of us who do drink having to make up for those who don't. So
Yep.
the dominant religion, they're fewer than 50% of the state now, but the LDS Church that founded the state of Utah, they don't technically believe in drinking alcohol. So.
Right.
Is there any challenges to brewing in Utah? 'Cause I know, I'm not sure if it's the whole state, but isn't there a portion of the state you can't be above a certain alcohol percentage? Or
Norm, that is a fantastic question. I was going to bring that up anyway. That's actually one of the widest misconceptions about Utah regarding Utah and alcohol. We can and have been brewing beer as big as we want, and have been doing so since we started. You know, one of our first releases was a 10.5% barley wine. The only it's not really a challenge. The only thing you need to understand is channels of sale. So if it's sold in the grocery store or the convenience store segment, it cannot exceed 4% ABV. If it's brewed above 4% ABV, it gets sold through the liquor store system. So it's actually the same exact laws as Colorado, except the only difference is Colorado, the liquor stores are privatized, and in Utah, they're state-run.
yeah.
Wow, that is it.
Never, like, people are always coming up to me and go, "Oh, I can't believe the law changed, and you're able to do this and do that."
And you're like, it didn't change.
So you don't know nothing about the law.
I went to Utah to coach an archery competition a couple months ago, and that makes so much more sense now because I kept looking for beer, and I kept looking for it in all the places I could find it in Maine, and then finally stopped at the liquor store my last day there, and I was like, oh, that's where all the beer is. I had no idea. So I was able to find some great stuff there, but I wish I had started at the liquor store. I would have known.
Yeah, I mean, we're very lucky. We were forced to brew. I told you about the division where it's grocery store, C-store, and then state liquor store. 92% of the volume of the beer is sold in the grocery store. So it's almost, for us, it's like a protectionist market where we've been brewing these wonderful session 4% beers, which are, now they're starting to get hot again. Mav, Pete Schlossberg just started a new brewing company dedicated to beers between 3.5 and 3.8. Even out in your guys' way, you've got the guys at Notch. And session brewing. And so there's anytime a needle goes too far one way, it tends to come back to the middle a little bit. So. And
sorry.
Go ahead. No, I was just saying for us, I love to drink beer, and I can drink a lot more 4% beers than I can 9% beers. You know.
I don't know if you mentioned this, but in a state that not all of the I guess citizens drink beer or believe in beer, do you find yourself selling more of the beer out of state?
This year will be the first year that export sales surpassed in-state sales.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about, we'll sell close to 30,000 barrels of beer in the state of Utah, and yeah, we're the largest, but there's, another brewery pretty close to right behind us selling about the same amount. So, I mean, they're decent numbers. As I said, the people that are not of the faith, that like to drink, that don't drink, the rest of us seem to do a pretty good job of making up for it.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's a pretty good percentage of people that actually 30,000 barrels for like a 60% of the state. It's crazy.
Yeah, we were last year. We're one of the top 50 volume producing craft breweries in the nation. Allagash and us kind of flipped back and forth the last couple of years.
Nice.
And we were in 2012 we were the second fastest growing brewery in that category in the U.S. only behind Founders.
Oh wow!
Awesome.
So we are able to get your beer out here, which is awesome. But can you give me like a little bit of a overview of what your lineup is and whether or not there's stuff that you can only get in Utah or is
Sure.
your lineup universal?
Yeah, definitely. We we're very new. Massachusetts, I think we're now in 3 years, maybe 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then other than that, we're in Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire. Vermont and New Hampshire just rolling out, with the last 3 to 6 months. Maine, November, December of last year, and Rhode Island right around the same time as Maine. So we're not super mature in those markets. So we're still in that. We have a pretty regimented rollout way that we go to market, and that's mainly due to the fact we brew 24 different beers. But if you released all those beers onto a market, it's too much for the sales teams to focus on.
Yeah.
So instead of focusing on everything, they focus on nothing. And that's not really to rip at salespeople, but it's more
just it's overwhelming.
Yeah, so we go with our Hop Notch IPA, which your fiance, not husband, I'm assuming.
Yep, fiance.
Hopefully it's the same guy.
Yeah.
You're not going to get in trouble.
That's
The Hop Notch, which is our IPA, and then the Doobie, the Imperial Black IPA, the Baba, which you're drinking as well, and then Wild, which is an organic extra pale ale.
Okay.
Those, and then a seasonal beer. We do 4 seasonal beers throughout the year. That's kind of our 5 core 12-ounce products that we go to market with. And then we also go, hopefully you guys have had an opportunity at some point to drink our Crooked Line beers.
Yeah.
Yes.
15 milliliter kind of reserve beers that range from 9 to 13.5%. We go with those as well. They tend to draw a lot of the folks like yourself, the press's attention to the brewery and stuff. So
Nice.
So that's, and then as the market becomes more mature and those brands get sold and take notice, then we release other beers into the market. So Anniversary Barley Wine is usually the next one, and then we'll add more kind of session seasonal beers there.
I will say the Hop Notch has found a place in my regular rotation of beer to put in my fridge, so I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, from the sales all across the country, I would humbly say that it's found a place in a lot of people's rotation. So it's one of those. It's phenomenal, the success of that brand. We have we right now, it's probably 40 to 50% of what we brew, and I'm still having to cut half of the orders. It's
wow.
We just can't make enough of it. So
you're cutting half?
Yeah, right now on that brand, about 50% of the orders.
God.
Wow.
Is Baba the only beer you do in cans?
Say that again?
Is Baba the only beer you guys do in cans? Or?
No, so the brands I just mentioned, actually, the Hop Notch, the Baba, the Wilds, are all available in cans. Then we put our summer seasonal called Summer, or Summer, S-U-M-R, in cans as well. I don't think a lot of that made it outside of Massachusetts this year because the demand, we just rolled out cans, in March, and I did a lot of swinging and missing on my projections for the kids. So a lot of the cans, what I thought would be, the volume in state, more than doubled, and in some cases tripled. So we weren't able to export a lot of cans this year. So, but we're getting better.
That seems like to be on the right side of the wrong math, though, right? Like there's more demand than you expected as opposed to less.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take that every day.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a mixed can 12-pack, which I don't think there's another one out there, that we kept promising our out-of-state wholesalers, and we just could never leave the borders because our number one volume distributor in Utah became their number one selling package for the whole summer.
Wow.
You're talking about a wholesaler partner that I've been doing business with for 20 years, and in its release, it usurped all the other package brands to become the number one seller. So
That's supposed to be pumped.
stunning.
That's
Oh,
huge.
it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Would you mind taking us through Baba? Maybe how it started.
I'd
and,
love to.
Couple
Yeah,
tasting
this is a brand that's real close to our heart. Without giving away too many stories or secrets here, we have a really super high attenuating house ale yeast, and for the longest time, I think we won 7 or 8 awards at the Great American Beer Festival in the Schwarzbier or Black Lager category with our porter, and I think the judges kind of got caught wind that we were doing that and started to recognize and remember the beer, and all of a sudden it was brought to our attention that we should probably actually make a Black Lager or a Schwarzbier, and then last year was the first time we released it commercially, and we were right back in the medals again at the Great American Beer Festival, so pretty happy about that. Great recognition for the hard work all the guys at the brewery are doing. It's a about 4.2, 4.3% session black lager. Mainly U.S. Tettnang and Hallertauer on the hops. Really, I mean, the hop, as you can tell, the hops are there, but it's not really a focus of the beer. It's more of the kind of the lagering and the dry roasty malts of the beer. I love it. I can even on a hot summer day, it still goes down. Still goes down pretty easy. It's 100% organic, which, as you notice, it's not something I led with. We do a lot here at the brewery, both to make sure we're on the forefront of sustainability, and that's one of the things we believe in. So we do make a line of beers that are 100% organic or something organic in their nature. For instance, our fall pumpkin beer we just released, it was brewed with 100% organic pumpkins. So it's, I mean, you guys tell me, how do you like the beer?
I think it's smooth. I didn't know it was 4 or 5 because I mean I never heard of actually I don't know if does Notch make a session black lager, but in any case I don't think I've ever had a session black anything, so it's really good. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I had one last night. I enjoyed the heck out of it, and it was one of those things that I've seen it in cans before, and I never picked it up just for whatever reason. I'm always distracted by what's going on in Maine, but it's really a nice beer. It's got a ton of flavor for being a 4 or 5, and it could be something that you could definitely have around for kind of any season to just go through and just enjoy that flavor. I really dug it.
Yeah, we wanted you to be able to take it out on the boat in the summer, and then also be able to pack it in for a fall hike or even skiing. For us, it's that's the beauty of that ABV and alcohol strength of a beer of that style, and it's just as I said, we can't say enough that it's definitely once the fall rolls around here, you start to see the employees case of the month tends to lean a lot more towards the Baba than anything else. So.
That's funny.
I just like
it's so easy drinking. I mean, it's the kind of beer that people don't know. Like, you hear so many people, I don't like dark beers; they're too heavy. This is the kind of beer you give to them. They're like, no, it doesn't have to be a thick stout because it looks like a stout, but black really are relatively light drinking beers.
Yep.
That's what I like about them.
Yeah, I had lagers for close to a month. So it's that nice kind of cool. We're about 53, 55 degrees on the fermentation temperature, and it just comes out crisp and clean. It's
Now are these all 12 packs for the cans?
the cans come in 6-packs actually.
Oh, do they? Okay.
They're in 6-pack boxes.
Oh, nice.
Similar to I don't know what you guys get out there so far. I think like 21st Amendment, if you see
Yeah.
there. Kind of that same thing, the environmental package cardboard being a little more friendly than plastic rings on your, on your bags.
We just had Foolproof out of Rhode Island, and they do the 6-pack boxes as well. So yeah, that's it's a nice little package because it's not a lot, and you can always go back for more. It's kind of the thing nowadays where you can either get a bomber or something, a 12-pack, or now you can go smaller to get a 6-pack, and depending on your taste or your night, it's good to have a little 6-pack.
Yeah, we have, and I don't want to get too sales geeky on you, but
please.
It's been.
I like data.
We anticipated. I was telling you about the forecasting. So if we sold a similar package in a market, like let's take Baba or Hopnotch for instance, and the rate of sale on the Hopnotch bottle was, let's say, 500 cases a month. Okay, so we anticipated that we would sell half of that amount and then see about a 20% cannibalization rate to the bottles. So, so if you were at, let's say, 500, lose 20%, so you lose 100, so now you're down to 400 cases of bottles, and then, sell about 200 cases of cans in that same market. We, almost every single market, saw that we didn't lose any bottle sales, and the incremental can sales were more like 60 to 70% of what that same product in a bottle did. So it's just,
wow.
It blew us away. I mean, it's we don't want to be known as a can, we're not getting rid of our bottles, and we're still going to make cans, but we just realized that there were occasions where people that want to drink our beer couldn't drink our beer because whatever, boating, golf course, just camping, hiking, and a big part of our brand and what we do at Uinta is we're outdoor enthusiasts, and we wanted to make sure that our beer could get to those outdoor enthusiasts. So.
And I think you're one of few breweries that do, imperial bombers as well alongside cans. So that's also, you kind of have the whole shelf pretty much.
You got the whole range, yeah.
Yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, so 4 packaging lines really: the 750 milliliter line, the 12-ounce Crohn's bottling line, the 12-ounce can bottling line, and then our M&F keg machine. So
the juice boxes come out next month.
What's that?
So you got to come out in like little Capri Sun packs.
We're going to do 750 cans next.
Oh God, don't even tape.
So Norm, we got some Twitter questions, and Mike, we got some chat questions. So let's give some people some love.
Mike, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'm gathering questions right now, so
okay, I'll go first.
Data gathering.
All right, I have the first question from Heather Vandy on Twitter, and she wants you to go through a rundown of the different ways people pronounce your brewery's name. I know I personally said it about 37 different times, so I'm guessing that some of the ways you've heard are probably kind of unique.
Back in the old brewery, before we moved into the current space that we're in now, we actually kept a cork board of the different spellings of the way that we were addressed to from different people, from United to Unita. I think that's the most often one is UNITA is the misspelling, and then for some reason people have a hard time putting the U and the I together. I have a buddy who lives in like Watertown that we've been friends for 15 years, and he still calls it Uinta.
The liberty of bashing the name.
I'm like, it's not French, It's just, it's
calm down.
Purposely, you can see the kind of the logo behind me. We purposely, when we did the rebrand about 2.5 years ago,
made the U bigger.
We made the U bigger, so you would be forced to say U, and then Inta, and then Carla, you weren't here, but I was kind of telling the guys earlier that the real easy mnemonic trick to teach people is, are you into great beer? That's the.
That's great. I like that. Yeah, I definitely am a former Unita sayer.
That's okay.
Mine was Uinta. Yeah.
What was yours, Norm?
Like the Uinta, like
Uinta.
Uinta.
But
yeah, it's an old Ute. It's an old Ute Indian name, and it's named after the east-west running part of the Rockies that run through northeast Utah, which are the only major east-west running mountain chain in the U.S. and that was pretty unique to the state. And back when we were opening up a brewery in Utah 21 years ago, it was fairly unique to be doing that as well. So that's kind of the nexus of how the name came about.
Okay. The next question is from Kay
Hard
Goyette.
to pronounce, easy to drink.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Nice.
put that on a shirt.
Tagline.
The next question is from Kay Goyette, Ken Goyette on Twitter.
Okay.
He was just wondering.
Gautier?
Yeah, he was just wondering. Here in Massachusetts, we have a very popular beer store called Craft Beer Cellar, who has decided not to sell any seasonal beers until September. I'm just wondering, from a brewer standpoint, you released the beers. I think your pumpkin beer, I'm drawing pumpkin, right?
Correct. Yes.
Has been a couple weeks. Just wondering what you think about a store that's refusing to sell it until September 1st, because they're basically fighting the early releases of summer. Seasonal
creep.
So what are Kate and Sue doing?
They're not selling any seasonal beers until September 1st.
Like fall beers.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was like, well, okay, but they'll
What
sell
are they
So I'm wondering from a brewery standpoint what they think about.
Oktoberfest.
I mean, are they holding on to the beer, or is the wholesaler holding on to them? Or I guess I'm kind of confused by that.
They're buying the beer. They're just not putting it on the shelf until September 1st.
You know, in some ways, I kind of applaud them. I think that having pumpkin beers on the shelf July 5th, July 6th is a little early. That being said, we purposely made our transition sooner this year. I just walked into the Whole Foods in downtown Salt Lake yesterday, and they had a 200-case display of our pumpkin.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
I can't really fault them. It's just hard this time of year. I mean, there are certain brewers that really started that trend, and we're kind of forced to play along, because once they started doing it, that our wholesaler started demanding getting the product earlier so that they could get it to the accounts earlier, so that they weren't shut out of display space and things like that. But I respect Kate and Sue for the way they run their business, and they're actually, I make a point of visiting them every time I go to Belmont, right? It's
Yep.
Belmont.
Because the next thing was not really a question. It's a statement from Sue. Suzanne, she just wants to make sure that Craft Beer Cellar has mad love for you, so she wanted me to pass that on.
Awesome.
It was just funny. And then the last question is from Tam Ray Mullins. She just wants to know if and when your beer is going to be available in Indiana.
Indiana. The soonest would be 2015.
Ooh.
Wow.
So take a road trip, Tamara.
Yeah, sorry, Tamara.
But she can go across the border
SOL.
she can go to Chicago, and actually we're pretty much statewide in Illinois now. So
Perfect.
There you
A road trip. Make a weekend out of it.
go. Oh, yeah.
my geography's not that great, but she can go the other way to Ohio, right?
I think that's where it is, yeah.
Ohio's on the other side, the east side. of
Mike's our resident geography person.
Yes, Ohio is in the United States.
Well, if you just look at the compass, if you just hold the Barbican north,
Right, exactly.
and then it has a compass on it.
You'll never get lost with Uinta.
Right. Nice. All right, well, I got some questions from the chat. First one's coming from Bruce, and he states, I accidentally aged a bottle of Jacked Imperial Pumpkin. Didn't think it aged very well. I really like it when it's fresh. Do they recommend aging beers in the Imperial series?
Yes and no. I don't know how or where he aged it, but this will be the third year the Oak Jack will be released. It's we made the conscious decision to now begin bottle conditioning every single beer that comes out of that series, mainly for the reason that some people do like to age them, and we believe that that's going to add to we know that's going to add to the shelf life. So we'll do that. But I opened up a bottle from 2 years ago that was stored in our cooler, and it tasted really good. It was different from when it first came out. Definitely more bourbon when it's first released, and then that kind of mellows over time, and you get more of the spice flavor. But I mean, he's got his opinion as well. That's fine. The Labyrinth and the Cockeyed Cooper, I've had those up at the first runs that were done over 3 years ago, and those age phenomenally well. Would I age the Detour Double IPA? No. I would. The fresher I could get that beer, the better. Same thing with the Tilted Smile. the barrel aged stuff, the Labyrinth's 13.2%. I mean, that's
gonna hold up for a while.
yeah, that's gonna hold up okay. We age it in the rye barrels for 6 months first, and then
Excellent.
I love the. I mean, just to speak quickly about that, the Cockeyed Cooper, which is our anniversary barley wine that we then age on mainly Elijah Craig bourbon barrels.
Nice.
It's good fresh. I like it just as the plain barley wine. It's a hoppy American style barley wine, and then it just it Madeirizes over time. The hops dissipate, and more of the stone fruit and the raisin bready qualities come out, and it kind of depends what you like, which is why I tell people to buy a case of it and drink one every couple of months and see where when it's in their wheelhouse. So
nice. Go across the spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. The next question is from my uncle, Scott.
Uncle Scott.
Yeah, Uncle Scott.
Hey, Uncle.
So the question is Uinta distributing the Hoodoo to the West Coast?
Is Uinta distributing Hoodoo to the West Coast? California, as I kind of explained that little what we do for markets, California is a little bit more of a mature market than New England, and actually Hoodoo is one of our export brands. It's available through our distributor. We're statewide in California right now, so
excellent.
Yes, it is available.
There you go, Scott. Send us some.
Yeah, or he can email me offline, or you can even go to our beer finder at uintabrewing.com and plug in Hoodoo and where his zip code is. We sent some Hoodoo to Kate. We sent some Hoodoo to Kate and Sue, actually.
Nice.
They made a special request. I think we sent them 20 cases or something.
Nice.
Classy move. Carly, you got a Twitter question?
Yeah, and it's about the beer that I'm drinking, the Doobie. This is a beer that's brewed with hemp seed, and the question is that having had the Doobie Black IPA, what do you feel that the hemp adds to the beer? Is it the flavor or the body? What does it do?
I'll tell you in a second.
Yeah, it's all cracking open, and as you do that, I just want to do a quick plug. We have 15 viewers watching live right now. We got a couple, 6 or 7 in the chat room right now, so they're really loving it. Big shout out to you guys in the chat and those that watch and listen. So
I want to give a quick shout out the glassware that we typically do most of our tasting in, and up here in the conference room, we've been drinking Spiegelau glassware.
Oh, yes.
I'm not a paid sponsor. I just this is the IPA glass that Spiegelau developed with Sam and Ken, Sam from Dogfish and Ken from Sierra Nevada, and I was a non-believer in proper glassware and just said, oh, it may make a little bit of a difference, and sat through a Spiegelau seminar about 3 years ago, and now I'm a evangelist. It's amazing what your own beers can taste like in really good glassware. So anyway, so back to the
Never heard that from a brewer about their own beer. That's really cool.
Finally,
Yeah,
yes.
it's amazing.
So quick sip, drink it in.
Okay, so for those of you, if you can't, I don't know if you guys can see it on mine or.
Oh, yeah, you can put it on yours.
So the Doobie. There we go. Let me go back up a little. So if you can see the Doobie, it's actually been named after. You see the Big Dipper on the front of the label. The bright orange star at the top is the Doobie star, which is.
All right, I gotta go. They found me. I am gonna go get my Doobie though.
That's awesome.
So the bright orange star in the Big Dipper is the Doobie star. It's when Utah turned 100 years old. We adopted it as our centennial star. So we kind of did a little play on words, and when we were doing the recipe development for it, we threw in a little hemp seed, which is THC free, but and the qualities that I think the hemp seed add to the beer is mainly on the mouthfeel side. It tends to give it this kind of almost like a slicker feel to it. But a lot of people swear that what they get from it is almost like a nutty or earthy quality from it. I tend to attribute that a little bit more to the grain load and the hops. Mm-hmm. But there are people that swear that that's what they get from it, and they're like, you can really taste the hemp, and it's for for us, it's very little. You don't need a lot. Very very few ounces in our batches, but it's fun. That's why we did it.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
it is tasty.
So once again, really cool
It's a
bottle.
big beer, but once again, I mean, the one of the driving forces behind all the beers we make at Uinta is balance. We want the beers to be balanced, even if they're hop monsters like this. That beer, that's 100 IBUs, over 100 plus IBUs, and 100 SRM. So it's one of the few beers on the planet that exceeds 100 in both the bittering scale and the color scale,
Wow.
and yet it drinks like a roasty porter on the front with a little bit of that IPA in the back. It's just.
I was gonna say the maltiness and the kind of the thickness definitely cuts that bitterness like well. You said it right. Balanced. It's perfectly balanced.
The thing I like about it, the black IPA, is a lot of them don't have the smell of an IPA, and this one you definitely smell the hop when you first take that first whiff, and I really like that.
Take it away.
Yeah, it smells like the art teacher's closet or
The wood shop.
The old wood shop.
or my brewer's glove compartment.
That's great.
So speaking of, and thanks again for sending us a couple of these, because this is a great beer. I'm glad that New Hampshire can now get it, because we've had 25 brewers, and I think maybe 10 of them distribute in New Hampshire. So always a fan. But
Cool.
I digress. So you guys do a lot of distributing, period, bottles, cans, what have you. But do you do anything special for just your brewery? Do you do any fun pilot batches or anything like that?
I wouldn't say we really do pilot batches for our brewery. We do get involved in special projects, particularly when there's a good cause to be had. We were just involved with ALs for ALS. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but there was a group actually out of it's a foundation that does research for ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, as it's more commonly known. So they teamed up with a hop grower in the Pacific Northwest that developed a special hop. Selected, I think, about 30 or 40 breweries to ship that hop out to. They donated the hops to the brewery, and then we brewed, I think it was a 40-barrel batch, put it all in half-barrel kegs, and then we got together with the accounts and donated back $1 per pint of every beer sold back to the foundation. So a little small, and I know it's weird that now 40 barrels for us is the smallest batch we can really do. But stuff like that we get involved in. We're constantly working on pilot test batches, but we don't really do anything that's restricted to everyone not being able to get it. I mean, there's certain brands that we do. This is our second year of we've done a sour project. We did a sour cherry last year, and then this year was an Eau Bruin sour brown.
Nice.
And there was only about 1,000, 1,200 cases available for the whole country, but at least we made it available to everybody who distributes our beer. It may not be in the quantities people want it, but
it never is, right? People want more.
Yeah.
Oh, quick question, Steve. From
Sure.
my uncle again. It's like, is that Monument Valley on the label? No? Question mark.
I'm looking over my shoulder at Lindsay, and I don't know if it's Monument Valley or not. I don't think so.
She's like, no.
Asking the tough questions here on the SP podcast.
When you're here with the family, right?
If he wants it to be Monument Valley, it's Monument Valley.
I'll just tell him it is. Just get him off my back. It's whatever you want it to be, Scott.
He's got an amazing eye.
Jeez.
So I'm just wondering now, I mean, you've been in, at least for Massachusetts, for, like you said, 2.5, 3 years. I'm just wondering if any more of the beers that you ship out to California, because you've been out there for a while, are any of those going to make their way to the East Coast?
Yes, definitely. I had a great meeting with the owners of our distributor out there when I was back from my summer vacation about a month ago, and they really want to start expanding. They understand and can sell the Hop Notch and the Doobie. They got a lot of our season. They got a lot of the summer, the seasonal this year actually, and they're moving towards. They're going to add the Bristlecone Brown Ale, which was a gold medal winner in the English Brown category last year at the GABF. They're looking to add that, and then more packages too. They want to bring in that duo mix pack of cans as soon as we can make enough to get out there. So.
And speaking of GABF, did you make it into GABF this year? There were a lot of breweries that were shut out.
We did. Yeah, we did. We
nice.
This will be our 20th year in a row being there.
Wow.
We'll have we're going to be there in a major way. We've got an end cap display this year, so we'll be pouring. Typically, you only pour like four or 5 beers. We'll be pouring 10 beers at the GABF this year.
Holy crap!
Wow. Representing. That's great.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's the next state over. It's probably one of our bigger markets. I always go out a night before and do a beer dinner. I've been doing it at the same restaurant for 5 years now, so we do a kind of Uinta beer dinner not too far from the convention center the night before, and then hit it hard for 3-4 days.
That's excellent.
Nice.
So what? We're going to kind of wind down just because I'd hate to take up more of your time than needed because it's what is it, 6 o'clock there?
I hate drinking beer and talking to people.
I'm so sorry. That's, we try to do our best to keep that minimum here, but no. But so I want to give a quick shout out to the New England Homebrew Jamboree. This is the 17th annual. It's coming up in a couple of weeks, and I'll put the link in the show notes. I say that because since I've been in New Hampshire, the homebrew scene has just blown up. I mean, it's probably been big since before I've moved here, but we have homebrew shops, Angie Homebrew in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Eastern Homebrew in Dover, New Hampshire. But what's the homebrew scene like, if you know, in Utah?
I do know. Not only do I know, it's super strong. We had a big rally out here right at the brewery actually about a year and a half ago. Almost 2 years ago, where Charlie Papazian, the president of the Brewers Association, came out. I don't know the actual membership of the Utah Homebrewers, but we were. I think there's only one state, or did they actually ratify Alabama? I think there's only one state.
Nope,
they're all 50
Everybody,
states.
all 50 now. Great, fantastic. Yep. So, we were one of the last officially. I mean, we had 3 homebrew shops when it was still illegal to homebrew. So we were the last. But it's very vibrant. In fact, you guys were asking about small batch beers. One of the beers that we just released in the spring and the fall, we partnered with a kind of a different collaboration than brewer to brewer. We collaborated with an award-winning home brewer, Chris Dietrich, and we did a double rye IPA called Cahoots that was released. I think Massachusetts got a little bit. I don't think Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, because they were just so new. I don't think they got any of it, but it was great. He got to come in and brew on the big system, and he loved it. He couldn't wipe the smile off his face for a couple of months. It's got to be pretty cool if you're a home brewer to be able to brew a beer and then go to the store and be able to buy some for your friends, and it's got to be. Well, as he told us, it was his dream. So.
I guess that's kind of a good transition point into what we like to call the moment of Zen, because we don't have anything else to call it. Sean, and it kind of steals from some other show that I don't want to say. But no, Sean usually.
You don't want to get sued.
No, please, yeah, sue us.
Everything we have.
Yeah, just don't take our beer.
Background, I have nothing.
You can take Norm. You can take my tackers, but you can't take my beer. So whatever. But no, Sean usually brings it home with kind of a question to you. So we do have a lot of homebrewers across. Obviously, there's 50 states can all homebrew. A lot of them do aspire to open up a production brewery in the future, brew pub, brewery. What are some of your tips to those that are looking forward to opening up their brewery, both
or advice
advice, warnings?
One tip, one advice: just make the best damn beer there is. There's nothing else. If you're passionate about beer and you understand it and you know how to make it great, I want you around me and on my team and making great beer. That's it. And if you don't aspire to make the world's best beer, then I don't want you making beer, because nothing will torpedo the rest of us faster than what happened in the late 90s, which is a plethora of substandard beers making their way to the market. And right now we're at such an awesome growth time and place where people are, I think we're opening up. Projections are for 1.5 breweries a day, every day, in the U.S. this year, and not, we're not going to start making lousy beer. So I guess one of the best analogies I heard was, it's almost like a restaurant. If it's not that people go to a bad restaurant, they stop going to restaurants, but they may stop going to your restaurant, And I just want everyone in it for the right reason, and that's to further the cause of people being able to drink amazing, great beers. And I'm very lucky in my life. I get to drink great beer, and that's my one piece of advice is just make sure you're in it for the right reason. We're very few of us are of them. I'm not going to say us. Very few are going to get wealthy in this business. Most of us are in it for the love of the business.
Now, for those listening and watching, and especially you three that are next to me, if you're not satisfied with that answer, you get the hell out of here, because probably one of the better answers we've had from the past breweries we've had on. Yeah. But anyone have any final questions before we kind of bring it home?
Just a final thought. I don't know if you mentioned it at the beginning of the show or not, but just putting my thoughts out there to the Stone Brewing employee that was recently killed in the tragic accident. So just a little moment of silence or whatnot for them. Always unhappy to hear about people in this brewing industry that do such great work having such horrible things happen. So.
Yeah, I would totally echo Carla's sentiment there, and I would also put out a note of caution. It's never fun when anybody passes away, but particularly in our industry, we're really close and tight with everybody, and we hate to hear that happening. I just want everyone to be cautious, because part of the way that the news is getting released is that craft brewers are unsafe, and it's a game of numbers. Where they started listing the amount of accidents in craft brewers versus major brewers. Well, you know what? There's 3 major brewers in the U.S. and there's 2,500 craft brewers in the U.S.
Right.
So I would just caution people on starting to believe that craft brewers are unsafe, because we care deeply about our employees, and
absolutely,
and I'm sure everyone does, and we don't. There's no beer that's important enough for an employee to pass away because of it. So.
Agreed. So raise a glass to that, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Mike, Norm, anything to close out before any shout-outs?
Just good luck, guys. Guys make a great product.
Thank you, guys.
Seeing you guys grow.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to say a brief thank. I spent the weekend in Reno, Nevada.
Cool.
They have an amazing festival there, which is called Can Fest.
Can Fest.
Yeah, celebrates American craft beer in a can, and it was very well attended. I drank some great beers that I haven't had the opportunity to drink before, and I didn't care if they were in a can or a bottle or a tuba, but the beers were tasting great, and they did a great job of really showcasing great craft beer in a can. And as I said earlier, it's you're going to see a lot of beers in cans that you wouldn't think you would before. So
that's awesome. Well, so we have the links to all things Uinta in the show notes, sblpodcast.com. We have uintabrewing.com. Twitter name is Uinta Brewing, and obviously you can search Facebook for the same. But again, the links are right there in the show notes. Steve, I really appreciate you guys and the team organizing. The beer you sent us and being able to talk to the beer.
Yes, thank you very much.
And more so coming on, because we really appreciate having the people from the brewery chatting with us. Just talking about beer. So we appreciate it, and we raise a glass to you, and cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. Cheers. Well, I'll reach out next time I'm coming back home, and hopefully we can meet in person and tip a few back.
True.
Absolutely.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.